Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our co-main event for UFC Rio. In this matchup, we have the former flyweight champion Deiveson Figueiredo taking on Montel Jackson. Figueiredo is 24-5-1 as a professional, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, while Jackson is 15-2 as a professional, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Currently riding a 6-fight win streak, quiet six-fight win streak too. Looking at Figueiredo, we all know the story at this point. Former flyweight champion, and honestly one of the best flyweights in the UFC ever. Her crushing power, just a wrecking ball in the division. Dangerous submission game. I think easily the best power in the lower weight classes we had seen besides like John Lineker. And had much success, and then eventually had the 4-fight quadrilogy with Brandon Moreno, which will always be etched in history as one of the greatest rivalries in MMA. Eventually, after the loss to Moreno way back at UFC 283, Figgy decided to try his hand at bantamweight and moved up. And more or less his brief success, he is 3-2 in the division. He was riding a 3-fight win streak, beating Rob Font by decision, submitting Cody Garbrandt at UFC 300. His last win in his career / the division was last August when he defeated Marlon Vera via decision and became the only man to drop him too, which is crazy. Currently riding a 2-fight skid, lost last November in a decision to Piotr Jan, and then in May of this year, shredded his knee against Sandhagen in a fight where he was not looking at all his best. He honestly made a lot of really odd decisions, I think, for Figueiredo. But at the same time, you think, okay, his only 2 losses are literally to a former champion, top 5 fighter, and a former title challenger who's also a top 5 fighter. He's literally lost only to the absolute elite of this division. Meanwhile, Jackson, as I said, riding a 6-fight win streak, pretty quiet, honestly. It's like, I know, hardcore MMA fans, even someone who tries and follows the sport as much as possible, I think most will note how dangerous Montel Jackson is and how good he is. But looking at his last 5 fights, beats BJ Buys via decision, beats Julio Arce via decision, knocks out Honey Yaya, then knocks out Damon Blackshear in 18 seconds last June. Then his most recent fight in May of this year, he beats and takes the undefeated record of Daniel Marcos. Honestly, I feel like more people would know about Montel Jackson and would think, man, he could be really something in this division if he fought more. He doesn't fight that often. He fights about once per year. Like the BJ Buys win is about 4 years ago. Then Julio Arce about 2 years ago. Same with Hani Yaya. Then last year he fought Damon Blackshear. And now May of this year, he fights Daniel Marcos. I feel like if he had more activity, I definitely see more people talking about him. Unfortunately, he just doesn't. But now he gets the biggest opportunity of his career, fighting a former champion, fighting a guy who at one point in this division seemed like possibly another title challenger. Of course, it didn't end up that way, but still. This is the best opponent in Montel Jackson's career, far and none. Now, how does this fight go? So looking at Deiveson Figueiredo, while his skills may have somewhat diminished, he is 37, which is old for the division. He still has elite level skills. His power has carried in this division. Now, he hasn't had as many knockouts as he did in flyweight, but he's clearly hurt just about every opponent he's fought. He did drop Jan, even though it was 50-45. It was one of the most competitive 50-45s I think I've ever seen. Figueiredo hold his own. Even, he dropped Jan. He dropped Vera, the first guy to ever do that. He didn't really drop Garbrandt. He mostly just used his grappling. But he did hurt Rob Font plenty of times in their fight. Interestingly enough, where he was mostly a striker with really good jiu-jitsu in flyweight, but he primarily fought on the feet. In bantamweight, he had mostly been a grappler, a very good grappler at that. Strong wrestling. It was well known that this cut to flyweight was killing Figueiredo. He did look like death on the scale when you saw him weigh in for the official weigh-ins. And then seeing him come to this division, being able to bulk up, not cut as much weight, and roughly be around his walking weight. You saw it clearly in his fights where he was just strong as an ox. Actually became the first man to submit Cody Garbrandt too. Like, his jiu-jitsu is very textbook, is very good. His positional control is good. His back take is great. His submission arsenal is good. Especially his guillotine. He's got a tight squeeze on that thing. You saw of Alex Perez how it looked like he was getting his head out. Eventually, the squeeze was just too much, and he had to tap. Figueiredo's grappling especially in bantamweight division, is really good. Now, granted, in the Jan fight, Jan seemingly had superior wrestling and better top control, and he was able to win on that. Plus, getting that signature sweep he always does. As for his Sandhagen fight, I know he was pretty injured in that fight, like a dislocated jaw, and then he shredded his knee. But it was weird with that one because he was attacking or going for leg locks more than I'd ever seen him. In fact, I don't think he even really goes for leg locks, except for that fight. It was really weird. I don't know if we're going to get that Figueiredo, especially really thinking about this, right? He shredded his knee in May. This is in October. Roughly, let's think, right? May. Apologies for the pause. June, July, August, September, and now October. Roughly 6 months of recovery. I don't know if that's long enough to heal. And like I said, I apologize for that pause there. Just that it doesn't have in my head. But yeah, I don't know if 6 months is long enough to heal from literally shredding your knee apart. Now, if he comes in at, I don't know, roughly 80%, something like that, I think it's hard. I mean, it's really hard to say until he gets in that octagon and we really see how he performs. But I'm hoping that if he really comes in healthy, in shape, his knee is fine and he no real injury. Well, I said like every fighter is going to come in injured some way, shape, or form. That's just an inevitability. But if he comes in at like roughly, 80, 90%, I think we're going to get a really, really good fight. Honestly, of the matchups, besides the main event, this is the best matchup on the card. Now, I'm not saying it's the funnest matchup, the most potential to be fight of the night, but in like terms of skill level, this and the main event are tied for me for like the best matchups on the card. I guess you could call it fight of the night if you want. Now, looking at Montel Jackson, he really lives up to his nickname, Quick. His hand speed is dangerous. You saw it, like 18-second knockout of Damon Blackshear. He was in southpaw. What a rapid fire jab cross down the center. Damon Blackshear didn't even look like he knew what hit him. And Montel Jackson hits with such speed and his power. He is one of the most powerful punchers of the top 15. Only real rivals he has would be like Song Yadong and Sean O'Malley, maybe Peter Yan, but that's about it. Montel Jackson hits so hard in this division. I honestly think he's going to beat Figueiredo in punching power. I mean, you saw like with Daniel Marcos when he got hit, he started really quickly, just like panic wrestling and going for the takedowns, thinking I don't want any of this on the feet. But at the same time, Jackson is well-rounded himself. He does have some submissions. Now I'm not going to say submitting Brian Kelleher is the same as submitting Cody Garbrandt. Absolutely not. But he at least has submissions in his arsenal. Got good anti-wrestling. Actually has a wrestling background too. And he's used his wrestling in a fair bit in his career, being able to either use it to stop the grappling of Hanayaya or use it against BJ Baez, use it against Julio Arce. His combination of strength, speed, fight IQ, and overall technique is dangerous. I'm thinking of like a fighter his skill is literally the 15th guy in this division, taking on the number 6 in Figueiredo. I mean, it just shows you how deep and how fucking stacked this bantamweight division is. Where the 15th guy, I think with his skill level, if a fighter had his skill level, he could beat most fighters in the heavier weight classes. It really just shows the depth of this division. But I'm going off on a tangent here. Man. Meeting in the middle or head-to-head is such a tricky thing to think of. Because looking at how Figgy strikes now in comparison to flyweight, it feels to be a difference. Like, Figgy now sort of uses a karate-like stance. He really keeps his hands by his waist, kind of like lulls the action a bit. Then he just darts in with more single strikes. He doesn't throw as many combos as he used to be. But at the same time, he has such good precision and good power. He doesn't need to throw too many combinations. Like I said, the timing, like on his right cross, when he dropped Vera was beautiful. Well, same with the right cross that dropped Jan. Or the overhand and right, or the left hook that hurt Rob Font. He's very good at like about one to two or three combinations, but full power. And like I said, with this karate style, he Figgy mostly relies on his head movement as his defense, and he does have a pretty good chin. He's only at, I mean, of all of his fights, like he's never actually been really KO'd. His only TKOs are two injuries, one to the knee against Sanhagen and one with an eye injury, or when his eye swelled like a balloon in his fourth fight with Romero. He's never actually been KO'd before because he's got a really good chin. I don't know how well that's going to work with Montel Jackson, though. I think Figueiredo's head movement is pretty good, but I don't think his head movement is fast enough to deal with the hand speed of Montel Jackson. Grappling wise, Figueiredo is going to be, I think, the better overall grappler, good positional grappler, and better with his submissions. But Jackson, I think, with his strength and good takedown defense or overall wrestling defense, I think are going to help him stay on the feet for long portions of the fight. So I really think this comes down to a striking battle, which sometimes they go to when sometimes I see Figueiredo more times than I see Jackson shoot for takedowns. I think if this was like 2 years ago, or when Figgy made his bantamweight debut, I definitely would favor him much more in this fight. But at 37, with the injuries he's been plagued with as of recent, and seeing his overall performance kind of diminish, I think this is Montel Jackson's time. Odds reflect this too. Now, I'm not a big fan of these odds. I think they're quite disrespectful. But minus 300 for Jackson, plus 250 for Figueiredo. I understand Jackson being the favorite. I really do. And you look at like the physical specs, he's going to be so much bigger. They're at 5'10 with a 75.5-inch reach advantage to Figueiredo, who's 5'5 with a 68-inch reach. He's going to be the much bigger fighter. I think he's going to be faster with his strikes, more specifically his hands. Going to be the stronger of the two. I take that back. Well, Figueiredo's always been a really strong bantamweight. You've seen it in his fights, but I don't know if he's going to be able to outmuscle a fighter as big as Montel Jackson. I can't see it. And while, like I said, I think if Figueiredo can get this to the ground, I can actually see him getting a submission. But Montel Jackson has improved his submission defense and his overall takedown defense much better over the course of his MMA career. And I mean, you've seen it with the 6-5 win streak. He's fought some overall good grapplers, I would say. Hanayaya is definitely more one-dimensional, not as good as a wrestler as Figgy, but he's got a good submission game. And Jackson never let it get to there. I mean, same with Damon Blackshear, but I guess what can you really say when a fight ends in 18 seconds besides he landed the perfect punch? But Daniel Marcos himself, he's good, well-rounded, and he's got good wrestling, and Jackson was able to deny him. I just think Montel Jackson, at this moment, right now, I think it's his time, and I think he's going to beat Deiveson Figueiredo. Can he get the knockout? If Montel Jackson was able to get the knockout, that'd be huge for his career. But I still think Figueiredo is durable enough to survive 15 minutes. I think I'm going to go with Montel Jackson, and I'm going to pick him via decision. I just think he has all the attributes needed in this fight to win. He has the speed. He has the strength. He has the durability. He has the overall wrestling defense needed. And the younger fighter. He's in his prime. He's about 32. He is in his prime and ready to make a splash in this division. And I think he's going to beat Deiveson Figueiredo this Saturday night. But with that being said, that's been my breakdown to this matchup. If you like the video, comment and subscribe. Next up, we'll have our main event, Charles do Bronx Oliveira taking on Matheus Gamrot. With that being said, I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary. Thank you all for listening. Take care.